I was saying happy World Breastfeeding Week, but all of August is National Breastfeeding Month. And welcome to the Maine State Coalition, Breastfeeding Coalition's webinar, all about breast pumps. We will be recording today's webinar. It will be available on our website. We can put that link in the chat box as well. All of these webinars have been free, and any donations are welcome to support our mission, which I like to read at the beginning of these webinars. Our mission is that the Maine State Breastfeeding Coalition is a welcoming and broad network of people supporting families who value human milk and breastfeeding. Together, we work to enhance the culture of breastfeeding around the state through professional networking, advocacy, and education. And my name is Kara Kaikini. I'm the board president of the MSBC. And before I introduce our speaker, I'd love to hear who you are, but in the sake of time, if we can do that just through the chat box, if you can just enter your pronouns, so she, her, hers are my pronouns, the town or state you live in, and anything else you'd like to share, like how old your baby or kids are, or what organization you're part of. So if you can take a minute to enter that, that'd be great. You're welcome to have your camera on or off throughout the presentation, but please keep yourself muted. There will be time for questions later. You may also want to have your Zoom viewing option on speaker view, so you just see Holly in the presentation. She will be showing different pump parts and different things like that, so having her camera on as the featured camera would be probably the best view for you. And in terms of the chat box, we will be monitoring it throughout the presentation, so feel free to type in a question at any time. I think Amanda will be monitoring that and probably saving those questions until the end of the presentation just to make sure we hear everything that Holly has to say. And we also want to thank our sponsors for today's webinar, Maine Medical Partners South Portland Pediatrics and Pump Spotting.
Hey, two great organizations. That's great.
Yeah. And so now it is my pleasure to welcome Holly. Holly Mielcarz is Acelleron's registered nurse and international board certified lactation consultant for the mom and baby division. She joined Acelleron as the director of education and account manager for Maine, New Hampshire, and Northern Vermont in 2014. During that time, she has been educating and supporting hospitals, medical offices, WIC agencies, and other healthcare organizations throughout Northern New England. Holly has been an RN for over 20 years in a variety of healthcare settings, with the majority of her experience and expertise in the field of maternal child nursing. She became an IBCLC in 2008, and prior to her role with Acelleron, worked as a hospital-based lactation consultant and community health educator. Holly is an active member of the New Hampshire Breastfeeding Task Force and holds a position on the board of directors. Holly has also been involved in breastfeeding advocacy and legislation in a variety of states. She is passionate about helping families meet their breastfeeding goals and has a special interest in supporting breastfeeding mothers in the workplace, as well as educating businesses on how to create a breastfeeding-friendly work environment. Awesome. We are so happy you're here, Holly. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and week and reschedule and all of that good stuff.
I want to apologize to everybody who's here. I was originally supposed to be here last week, as you all know, but with that terrible storm that we had, I'm sure you had it in Maine, I live in New Hampshire, and I went out on my deck to save some of my plants and put them under my table and slid and pretty significantly injured my knee and foot. I'm on the mend, but certainly it was quite an ordeal. So thank you for being flexible, with me. I'm glad to be here. So thank you, Kara, for that wonderful introduction. That takes that off my plate. And I'm so happy to be here. Some of you know me, some of you probably don't know me, but I've been very, very involved with the state of Maine on a variety of different levels, from working with many people in the state of Maine with getting breast pumps, covered by insurance, especially for Maine care members, as well as, working with a variety, most of all the hospitals, OB offices, family practices, pediatricians, and certainly one of my favorite groups is the WIC program in the state of Maine. They're doing some wonderful, wonderful work, as well as the Maine State Breastfeeding Coalition, who is doing some wonderful work there in the state of Maine. And we're we're sisters, so we often will see and talk to each other quite a bit, you know, the two states, which is great. So thank you, Kara. So as Kara, you know, shared, one of my passions is supporting all women in many different venues, but certainly one of the challenges that I have seen as an educator, as a nurse, a lactation consultant, is the challenges that women face in the workplace. And so for a few years now, I've really spent a lot of my efforts in time, not only with legislation in helping support women in the workplace, but also with insurance companies as well, and making sure that women have the tools that they need to maintain their milk while they're away from their babies. And, you know, being able to work with the insurances to provide a high quality double electric breast pump, so that when she's away from her baby, she has, you know, a quality piece of equipment to maintain her milk. And so Acelleron is a home medical equipment provider that offers, works with insurance companies and moms to help moms meet their goal by providing a breast pump that is, you know, really appropriate for her. Every woman is different, every situation is different, every work environment is different. So today I just wanted to take some time, because there's often a lot of confusion in regards to breast pumps and what is covered, and you know, what is the best breast pump for me. A lot of the questions that we often get is just some of the terminology. When maybe in a group, or they may read something, you may need a larger flange. And I've had some women come to me and say, I don't even know what a flange is. What are they talking about? So today I really wanted to spend some time not only talking about the different pumps and the different manufacturers of the pumps that we offer through insurance, but also some of the anatomy of the pump, just so you know some of that, you know, that terminology as well. And then some things to consider when you're looking for a breast pump. You know, there are some key features that women are looking for, or certain, you know, women in certain work environments may need maybe a pump that has battery access or a car adapter. So I just want to take some time to go over, you know, all of that as well. So at this point, I'm going to go between speaking and the PowerPoint, as well as some demonstration. I think it's always helpful to actually have the pumps available so you can see them, the different parts, and I'll certainly let you know what pump I'm sharing with you, and some key features about that pump. In the state of Maine, most of your insurance companies do cover a breast pump at 100%. Now, that doesn't mean that every single breast pump that is out there is covered, but we do work with the insurance companies to make sure that every mom in the state of Maine at least has access to one or two choices, if not more, depending on the insurance, to best meet her needs. And like I shared, we also work very, very closely with MEDELA. They're you know, wonderful with supporting moms with breastfeeding and making sure that their members are all receiving quality, high quality breast pumps. So that's really exciting. With that being said, working with MEDELA, we also work very closely with the WIC program throughout the state of Maine. So it's important that if you are, you know, a member of MEDELA, and you're seeking some more breastfeeding support and education and advocacy, especially with your pump questions, you know, pump demonstration, how to use your pump, how to effectively maintain your milk, certainly, you know, WIC is a phenomenal resource for you all in that area. So let's start this webinar here. So just a few things that we're going to talk about, certainly the types of breast pumps, things to consider when looking at a breast pump or looking for a breast pump, key parts, some of the key brands and general uses of breast pumps. Try to get some tips and tricks in there. I don't really know, that might be a whole other webinar. Maybe I'll ask Kara if I can come back and talk about some pump tips and tricks. Maybe that will be for next year, Kara. And then also some things to consider, pumping bras and that kind of stuff. So the first slide here that you're seeing is just the 3 different categories of breast pumps: a manual, the personal double electric or electric, and then the hospital grade electric. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide. Just know that there are 3 different types of pumps that are out there. The manual pump is exactly what it says. It's manual. It does not have electricity. It doesn't have battery options. It doesn't, have any of that. It's a handheld manual pump. It is meant for moms that are maybe occasionally using a breast pump, pretty much maybe exclusively breastfeeding, but may need to just expressed some milk. Maybe she's out and her breasts are full and she just needs to express a little bit of milk. That's what a manual breast pump is. We're going to really concentrate on the middle part here, which is the double electric breast pump. We only provide double electric breast pumps for our moms that look to us at Acelleron to support them in this journey. So that is exactly what it says. Many of them have battery options. They can be plugged in. Some of them have USB chargers. You can adjust the cycling and the speed. Most of these pumps will pump both breasts at the same time, which is a time saver, especially for the working mom. And also, these pumps, you can also, I'll show you in many of these, they can also be single pumps too. It's just a little tab on most of them that you can go from double to single pumping. So if you're pumping on one side and breastfeeding the other side of the baby, those are all options. And these are really the category for moms that are working. Working moms tend to be in this category. And then the last category is the hospital grade double electric. And that is it's a stronger pump. It is not something that you can buy on the market. Many moms will rent this particular pump if they have, let's say, maybe they have twins. Maybe their baby has some feeding difficulty. Maybe their baby has an anatomical, challenge with feeding, like a tongue tie or a cleft palate. So certainly these would be under the guidance of not only the lactation consultant, but if a mom is using a hospital grade double electric pump, there's usually a medical indication for that, whether it be from the mom or for the baby. So moms that do use a hospital grade double electric pump, many of them have a lot of success with initiating and maintaining their milk supply. But of course, not just having the pump, but also having the support too, which is so very important. So those are the 3 categories. But again, we're going to just concentrate on that middle section here, those insurance covered breast pumps. So this is a really big piece here on, various, I think the most important things, the most important features to look at in a breast pump. So the first thing that you want to consider is the suction and the cycling. Every breast pump is meant to mimic your baby's sucking pattern. So the one thing that we want to look at here is what are the different settings? Do they have a good suction setting, a good cycling setting? Again, is it double pumping? Can you pump one side? Those are all really key pieces. Most of the pumps that I'm going to show you today have what we call 2-phase cycling. And what that means is that when a baby first latches on to the breast, the baby will initially suck pretty quickly. So suck, 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 suck. And when that suckling happens, that releases the hormone oxytocin, which then will be surged up to the brain and then surged to the breast to actually initiate that letdown. And so the pump is mimicking on that first phase the baby's first latch onto the breast. And then the second phase is more of a suck, swallow, suck, swallow, suck, swallow. And that's the area when we're talking about suction and cycling. That's when we're talking about all these pumps. Moms can adjust and adapt those two areas. So for example, let's look at the SPECTRA. And these are in no particular order. They're just all over my desk. So I'm just grabbing as I go. But here is the SPECTRA breast pump. We'll talk a little bit more about this. But in the regards to suction and cycling, these are your buttons right here. So you can see that this is, you can cycle up or you can cycle down. So cycling up is going to be quick, 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 quick. Where if you're cycling down, it's going to be a little bit slower of a cycle. When it comes to the vacuum, okay, that's your suction. You can suction up or you can suction down. Again, it's going to be more of a stronger pull the more you increase that suction, less of a pull if you decrease that suction. This also has your two-phase. So with this, this is your two-phase button, okay? So what you'll do is when you first put that on, you'll push that and that will start with your suckling for your letdown. Then once mom's milk starts flowing, every mom is a little bit different, then you push that button again and it will go to more of that rhythmic suck, swallow, suck, swallow, suck, swallow to mimic your baby's feeding pattern. So this is the SPECTRA pump, and so you can see the buttons on this, okay? The MEDELA pump, everybody, the suction, here's your let down button. Remember we talked about that. MEDELA is a little bit different in the sense that once the pump is turned on, it automatically starts. So the SPECTRA is just the opposite. With that suckling for 2 minutes, and then it goes to that suck, swallow, suck, swallow. Moms can bypass that if they didn't want to wait the full 2 minutes. Let's say they're not let down in a minute or so. They can always push that button to begin that expression phase. So you can see here, this button looks a little bit different for the suction because you just dial it up or you dial it down, okay? Very, very simple. Let me show you some other ones. Okay, here's the AMEDA Maya. Okay, you can see this pump. Here's your massage mode once again. Okay, and then here's your to increase the suction, to decrease the suction. Now, most of these pumps that we provide, you will have access to control the suction, and then the pump will set the cycling for you, except for the SPECTRA pump, which is completely independent of each other. So moms have the ability to maneuver those themselves. And then also the ARDO breast pump as well. Those are independent, so moms can do that as well. But so you can see the suction and the cycling settings. Zoning, again, just trying to show you where that is. Buttons, the two-phase. So you're seeing the two-phase and the suctioning. Most of them are all LED screens as well, which is nice. The next section is open and closed system. Certainly with a closed system, there's a physical barrier between the milk collection kit and the actual motor of the pump, so that the milk cannot back up into the motor of the pump. So that helps prevent any contamination, bacteria, mold, viruses, all of that kind of stuff, where an open system does not have that particular barrier. Most of the pumps now are going towards closed systems. With that being said, that does not mean that any of these individual pumps should be used for multiple mothers. The only pump that should and can be used per the FDA is that third pump that we talked about, that hospital grade pump. Those pumps are designed to be shared amongst different women after cleaning and changing tubing. But all these pumps that we're discussing right now, whether it's an open or a closed system, the FDA at this time is recommending that these are all single user pumps, meaning, I mean, it can be used for one mom and two children, but not shared between, you know, various women. Some of the manufacturers are looking into that now. They're trying to get some clearance with the FDA, but there is talk with the FDA. But at this time, most of the manufacturers, most lactation consultants agree that at this time, these are just single-use personal pumps. Portability is another thing that is really important to moms. What is she doing for work? You can see here that there are all different sized pumps. You know, here's the Ardo, here's the AMEDA Maya, here's the LANSINOH pump, the size of the LANSINOH pump. You know, then we go back, you know, again to the SPECTRA. And then we have the ELVIE pump, which has no tubing, which has nothing, you know, attached to it. You do everything through your phone with this. So we'll talk a little bit about this in a few minutes, but so it just depends. If you are a mom that is in an office, has an area to lock her door, has a desk, then you know what? Maybe the SPECTRA is a fine pump for you. If you are an attorney that's in court or you're a teacher, the SPECTRA pump might not be, depending on what you're doing, or if you're a physician or you're a police officer. You might benefit more from the ELVIE that you can just stick in your bra and do everything, you know, from your phone. So that is a really big piece of looking at a pump. You know, certainly the portability. What are you doing? You know, are you on a train for an hour, you know, commuting in the city, you know, back and forth to work, and you just want to be able to put the pump in your bag? You also have to think about batteries then. You know, those things are what we really want you thinking about. Warranties are another big thing. You know, most warranties will cover a length of time, but sometimes some pumps will cover, the warranty will be the number of hours, you know, whether it's, you know, 2 years or 400 hours, say, for the Calypso pump. Warranties are a big deal. You know, you want to make sure that you have a high quality pump like all of these pumps that have great customer service, as well as, you know, a warranty just in case something happens, manufacturer defect. Extra parts, that's another piece that I always like to talk to women about. You know, for example, where can you get extra flanges? Where can you get car adapters if you need it? You know, does Acelleron have it? Can you go to Amazon? Can you go to one of the big box stores and get it? For example, MEDELA, you know, has a very good reputation in the state of Maine. They've been around for a long time. Most of the hospitals are using MEDELA products. So therefore, they're in, you know, No More Babies R Us, but, you know, they're in some of the big box stores, you know, the Targets, the Walmarts. So if you need something, need tubing, or you need a membrane or something, you can just head right to the big box store and get it. Whereas, let's just say SPECTRA, even Ardo, you have to just think a little bit more about where you're getting these products. If you needed a larger flange, where are you getting that flange from? You know, you need to order it from their website for some of these. So you just want to think about the extra parts. You know, some moms, I know that, you know, in the state of Maine, the WIC programs use a lot of MEDELA products. So I know the breastfeeding coordinators and the nutritionists, they will often have just some extra pieces. Some of the hospitals have extra pieces. So if a mom needs something, you know, a flange, or the dog ate the tubing, they can go back to the hospital, or they can go to the WIC agency close to them and you know, grab the piece that they want. So those are just all things to think about. And then obviously, you know, some other features, many of them have lights to them. You know, the SPECTRA, that's one of the most popular things, you know, with the SPECTRA, it keeps track of your pumping, and will start with your last pumping session. So moms really like that about the SPECTRA. They like the night light that's on the SPECTRA. Some of the other pumps have it as well. So, you know, if you're pumping at night, that might be something. If you are in an office that tends to be on the darker side, maybe, you know, you're in a building that doesn't have windows, you know, you might want to consider that. So those are some of the key, you know, features. Usually the warranties for breast pumps are about 1 to 2 years. So any of you guys that are wondering about that, that's usually, you know, what the warranty is. So let's move on now to the anatomy of a breast pump. So these are some key features that it's important for not only moms that are on to know about, but I know that we have, you know, on a lot of these webinars, we have healthcare professionals, we have nurses, we have lactation, we have educators, doulas. So I'm hoping this is going to help all of you as well. So whenever you hear, probably the most popular word that you will hear in the whole breast pump world is flange. And so this is a flange. This is your flange. Okay. And if you look at the flange, it is made usually of a plastic material. Some manufacturers now are adding some buffer or a silicone type flange piece, so that's a little softer and able to cup the breast a little bit easier. A little bit more comfortable. So this is the LANSINOH pump. And then you can see here, this is the ZOMI pump. And this is, it's a plastic. It certainly is a plastic, but you can hear the difference. It's just a softer. Okay, so we're beginning to see some of the changes, not in the shape of the flange necessarily, but what materials are the flanges made out of. The one thing that I would like everybody to know is that flanges come in different sizes, okay? Every woman is a little bit different. We've always said standard is a 24 millimeter, 27 millimeter, but flanges come in 21 millimeters. Flanges go up to 36 millimeters. So the right fit for the flange is so important, because if the flange is too large, it is not going to stimulate the breast appropriately and therefore could decrease your milk supply. If the flange is too large or too small, excuse me, the flange may pinch the breast, causing breast and nipple trauma, and it can also cause pain, and that can also affect a milk supply, because then moms are experiencing that pain, so moms are expressing more stress hormone because of their pain of the pump that's too tight, and then so the oxytocin and stress hormone, just like in labor, they don't get along. They're not friends. And it always seems to be in the world of lactation and labor and birth, when stress hormone comes, stress hormone kind of takes over. So we just want to go think about those flanges in both ways, because a big flange or a small fitted flange can cause the same issues. And that usually is decreased milk supply. Okay, so flanges are important. Most of the companies will include 1 to 2 different size flanges within the box that you get through your insurance. Most of the manufacturer websites, as well as our company, also carries different size flanges. So that's just an important piece. And when I talk about the millimeter or I talk about the diameter, I'm not necessarily talking about this piece. I'm talking about this piece. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that there is, it almost looks like a funnel. And so this piece here is what the diameter is. So this one is a 28 millimeter, okay? Whereas this one on the Spectra is a 24 millimeter. So this one would be smaller, okay? The next thing is small but powerful pieces and the membranes and the valves. So there's 2 really different type of membrane and valves. The first one is more of the duck bill valve. You can see kind of looks like a duck bill, okay? And then the other one is more of a membrane, okay? The pump will not work effectively and efficiently if these are not in place or securely placed inside the milk collection area, okay? The pump will not effectively work either if these are damaged. So these are very flimsy, as you can see here. So we really don't recommend, you know, any harsh scrubbing to these, or, you know, obviously you're not washing any of your stuff in chemicals, hopefully, you know, but just, you know, some nice warm soapy water, and then, you know, air drying these. But I know these are just little pieces, and I've had moms that are experienced pumping moms. They've come into my office and said, the pump's not working. Like, I don't know what is going on here. And then I look and I'm like, this is missing in one of them. And there it was. So, so this, if you're a healthcare provider or you're supporting breastfeeding women and they have a question about the pump, always make sure that these are in there, okay? And one's not better than the other. Some of the manufacturers now are providing both of them, you know, different. So tubing is the next thing. Obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory, what tubing is. And again, for, let's just say, this particular pump, which is the Zomi pump, you can see that the tubing here is more in a Y type of a tubing. So there's always going to be 2 open ends to your pump, okay? So one end is going to actually go into the flange, okay? That's one end. And then one end is going to go into your pump itself, okay? So here's an example of the Zomi pump. You can see one end of the tube, one end of the tube, down, and then this piece is left, and this piece goes into the actual motor of the pump. Now, just so you know, where the one end of the tube connects to the pump is going to be different locations in all of the different pumps. So here it is for the Zomi pump. It's in the back for the Maya pump. It's on the side for the LANSINOH. Okay, so, you know, in your manufacturer's handbook, it will show you where those are, but they will, you know, attach into the pump. The pump motor is the control center. You know, that's pretty self-explanatory. Everything that I've showed you, those are all the motors. That's the control center. You know, you can kind of rinse this off with a, you know, a cleaning cloth, or just, you know, some warm water, or, you know, one of those Clorox wipes. You know, you want to just read about dishwasher safety. You want to read about, you know, how to clean your pump. I'm going to put a website at the end on the CDC's latest recommendations on cleaning your breast pump. But you want to definitely look at that. The other thing that I just wanted to share regarding tubing is that you may find on different websites and different group chats or what have you that women will talk about some hacks with breast pumps. I do not recommend that, and I don't, in the lactation world, we don't necessarily support that, only because you should really only be using the products that have been tested, you know, by the manufacturer, recommended by the manufacturer. Now, you know, collection bottles and teats, or milk collection bags, you know, those are okay. But once women start getting into tubing and cutting, and, you know, you just want to be really careful with that. You know, I certainly can't tell you not to do it, but just know that if a pump is altered, usually the warranty is null and void. And then also that can affect, believe it or not, your breast expression production. It can actually, you know, decrease your production. It could cause some sort of, you know, trauma to the breast. So you just want to be very, very careful, you know, with that. Okay. And then the last two things that I want to talk about are collection containers. And so collection containers, this is considered a, you know, the mouth of this. So this is a narrow or a slim mouthed bottle. And then this is more of a wide mouthed. Okay. So that's just something to consider. There's all different bottles out on the market. You know, moms are going to find the one that works best for their baby as well as the teats. But just know that there are different, you know, bottles. So like if you're going to collect and you have a Zomi pump, you're not going to be able to have a narrow bottle to do that. So like if you have a Zomi pump, you'll have to use a bottle that is compatible, you know, with the wide necked bottles. And on our website, you know, in our knowledge center, you can click on each of these pumps. If you go to Acelleron.com and you go to the knowledge center or breast pumps, it's going to go over each pump, but also it's going to go over what is compatible. So, you know, what the warranty is, what size flanges come in the box, what extra accessories do they have? Is it a wide neck bottle or a slim neck bottle? So if you go on our website, we'll be able to do all that. Okay.
Holly, I just want to give you a heads up that we have just over 15 minutes left.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then the last thing that I wanted to go over with this is just the power source. So you just want to look and see whether the pump has access for batteries. Does the pump have access to a USB port? Those are going to be important pieces for different women for different reasons. But you always want to make sure that you're thinking and at least looking at your power source, okay, and what the options are for that. This is a great slide here. When we talked about the flanges, now that you all know what flanges are, you can see the one that's too small, where you can see the nipple is somewhat compromised. And then the too large, you can see that there's a lot of space between the nipple and the flange. And then you can see and how that's really tugging. And then the correct fit in there. So that's a really good visual for all of you. If you have any questions, about flange size, you can always talk to your lactation consultant. Certainly your midwife, OBGYN, but the lactation consultants, CLCs, they can certainly give you some guidance. And if they're not comfortable with that, they can certainly lead you to the person or the expert that could help you with flange sizes. So a couple of the different pump brands, AMEDA has been around for a long time. They are a major manufacturer in the breast pump world. They're a closed system, like we talked about. And they do have internal battery options for pumping on the go. So the latest model is the AMEDA Maya, and you can see it's very, very tiny. But this is an example of the AMEDA Maya. And again, I'll go through these, thank you, Kara, for letting me know quickly, because again, you can always go to our website and literally look up everything that you would want to know about each of these pumps. I'm just kind of giving you a look at them so you're familiar with them, and then also, what are some of the key features. But this is the AMEDA Maya pump, which has gotten a lot smaller from when AMEDA first started. So that's the AMEDA pump. This is another pump that we offer. This is called the Calypso pump. This is manufactured in Switzerland. So it's a very, very popular pump in Europe. It's a closed system again. And this has an internal battery pack for pumping on the go. You can see in the back of this here. I'll show you. That's where your batteries will go. Okay. And this is one of those pumps that they say is great because it has a 400-hour or a 1-year guarantee, whatever is, best. And this goes with the small necked bottles, okay? Whereas again, the AMEDA Maya that I showed you, those were wide neck bottles. Right. And women have said it's very quiet. The LANSINOH pump, this is the LANSINOH pump. You can see the size of it. LANSINOH also has wide neck bottles to it. They have been really following a lot of technology and, increasing a lot of their, the way that they communicate with moms and the smart technology. So this is another closed system, and this has a customizable pump setting with 3 different pumping styles. And that's a really cool feature. None of the other pumps have that pumping style. So you can hit this button right here, and it goes through the different pumping styles, the different 3. And then you have your suction button right here. And this also has batteries. So LANSINOH is another pump brand that we carry. MEDELA is a pump that has been around for a long time. The pump and style, I think pretty much everybody has heard of the pump and style breast pump. Very, highly trusted name, has been around for a long time. This is an open system, so a little bit different in the barrier system for the personal use pumps. They are the ones that patented the 2-phase. So everything that you see with the 2-phase, MEDELA was really the one that started all of that. Because MEDELA has done a lot of research, and they continue to do a lot of research in regards to women and pumping and milk yield and supply and maintaining milk and that sort of thing. So this is definitely a research-based pump, company, technology. They are coming out with a couple new pumps. We're not carrying them yet, but I believe that there might be some information out there on some of the newer pumps, put out by MEDELA. So if any of you are interested in that, or MEDELA as a company, you might want to look into that. And I know that eventually we will also be adding some of the newer MEDELA pumps to our fleet of pumps. So this is the standard pump and style. This is a pump that's pretty much covered by most insurances, including Mielcarz. But the other MEDELA pumps, I'm not exactly sure how that breakdown will go, but stay tuned, because they definitely are coming out with some new goodies for pumping moms. That's the MEDELA. And then SPECTRA, which we showed you, SPECTRA. And so this is a very popular breast pump. This has gained a lot of traction here from Asia and Australia, but it definitely is one of the top pumps here in this country. They say that it has hospital strength suction. It certainly is not, this pump would be used amongst multiple women, but they're saying that it's, a hospital strength pump. Again, it's 100% adjustable for the mom, and has that 2-phase, and this is a closed system as well. So that is the SPECTRA breast pump. MEDELA has narrow bottles. SPECTRA has more of the wide end bottles. The Zomi is a newer pump that's out. I showed this quite a few times. This has a rechargeable built-in battery. You can also charge this through your computer, which is awesome. Again, they are considering themselves a hospital strength, closed systems, and different adjustable expression. As you can see here, you can strength up, strength down, 2-phase, comes with 2 different size flanges. So this is a nice little pump that's on the market. It's nice, it's powerful, and we're getting positive feedback from this, which is, fairly new to the market in comparison to some of the other older pumps. So the Zomi is a good little pump for maintaining milk. And then the ELVIE pump is something that's newer to our market as well. And this is the first silent wearable breast pump. So this is rechargeable. It charges via a USB in 2 hours. It's very small and lightweight. It can be worn in a regular nursing bra. There is no need, when we talked about the 2-phase, there's no need to change it from the 2-phase. It automatically does it because it can censor the amount of milk in there. So once it reaches a certain level of milk capacity, then it will automatically change to the more of the expression mode, which is unbelievable, the stuff that this pump does. And it connects to the free app, and it monitors the volume, it tracks pumping history, and you can track your pump remotely. So again, if you're a professor or you're a teacher and you're talking, and you have your clicker, and you can also have the your phone here and turn off the pump, and it's amazing. And so this is what the milk collection looks like, and it has a nice little spout here so that you can just pour it right into the your collection, whatever you're going to keep your milk into. But that is that's the ELVIE pump. So I do welcome you all to go onto our website and learn a little bit more about all these different breast pumps that we have. Again, this was only an hour, so I wanted to go over kind of the meat, the meat and bones of these pumps, the anatomy of the pump, what to look for in a breast pump. I wanted to share some of the manufacturers that are out there just so they ring a bell to you. I wanted to share our website that has tons of information. We have a blog. Most of our customer service gals are all CLCs as well. So any of you moms or clinicians that have any questions, about any of the pumps, if you have any questions regarding insurance, if you have any questions regarding, what pump is covered, if you upgrade a pump because you want a bag, our girls can help you with all of that, let you know if there's any out-of-pocket expense, what that will be for you. So please don't hesitate to call us. You can email us, and you can also live chat with us. So that's another thing. Breast milk storage guidelines. This is, something that is meant for healthy term babies, certainly, but that is something that you'll get all different recommendations, but this is what we go with. And then this is the website for cleaning, CDC Cleaning Guidelines, and you'll have access to all of this, Kara said. But this is a great piece for you. And again, if you have any questions or concerns with anything, please don't hesitate to give us a call. You can email us at education to Acelleron. And that pretty much is a lot of information in an hour. So I hope that I was able to, introduce you to the world of pumps. But again, that is only the beginning. So for each year that passes, we will continue. I have lots and lots and lots of information. So we'll start here. Thank you for coming, and thank you to the Maine State Breastfeeding Coalition for having me. Always a pleasure to work with all of you. So proud of you all in there in Maine, and I'm so happy to be part of it. So thank you, really.
Thank you, Holly. That was awesome and really good timing. I think we have some questions. Amanda, I don't know if you want to let Emily go first.
Yeah, let Emily, she's my friend, so she can go first.
You can either unmute yourself and ask, or Amanda can read it, whatever you prefer.
Hi. So I had a couple questions. I guess I just need to check on the warranties of the pumps. Do you know, typically, though, does insurance usually cover with a second baby? How often insurance will cover with a second pump?
That's a great question. And there's actually been a lot of confusion in regards to that question. And so what I can share with you is that most of the insurances will cover one breast pump per pregnancy. That's usually what we see. Because if you have a mom that's working full-time or even part-time or pumping frequently, eventually that motor will be affected by that pumping. So that's the one area that we really advocate for in the sense of insurance, that it's important that they cover one pump per pregnancy. And that doesn't mean that a mom can't get a MEDELA and a LANSINOH, or maybe she wants the same pump, or maybe she wants to try another pump, with a second baby. But in most cases, I can't say all, but in most cases, we have no problems obtaining a brand new pump for a second, third, fourth pregnancy.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'll let somebody else ask a question.
Let's see. You want me to ask the rest of your question, Emily?
Oh, that's okay. So I guess my other main question was just, you touched a little bit on flanges.
Yeah.
And maybe I should just check out the resources on your website, but I struggled a lot with trying to figure out the right size flange my first time around, and I felt like I never really knew if I had the right flange. Sounds like you're suggesting to just actually go to a lactation consultant in person and have them.
Yeah, and when women used to come in to see me when I was, working inpatient at a hospital for mother baby return visits, we would usually just start with the base, the 24. I mean, I would definitely do an assessment of the mom's breast first, And sometimes, you know, as lactation consultants, we can sometimes just eyeball, oh, you know, the 24 is going to be too large diameter wise, or that's going to be too small for that mom. And so what I usually would do is just, you know, use my assessment on that and then try to fit her accordingly, even if we started with a 24, 27, and actually would have her, you know, pump in my office and, you know, see, kind of assess it myself, you know, as a lactation consultant, and then, you know, guide her whether we needed to maybe go down a size or up a size. And remember too, that some moms, you know, through their pumping experience, sometimes need to change sizes of their flanges as well. And sometimes moms from one lactation experience to the next baby, sometimes we needed to change the flanges as well. So yeah, that would definitely be my, you know, my recommendation is to, you know, try to meet up with an LC to just kind of, you know, do an assessment again of the breast, and then, you know, try to see what flange would best, you know, fit you. And again, the manufacturers now are really, because of what you're sharing, I think that they're really listening. And they're really beginning to try to change not only the material that the flanges are made of, but also the, you know, the way that they fit, you know, and the flexibility, where before all we had was just a hard plastic, you know, flange. And so, you know, and that wasn't always comfortable or effective for all moms. So definitely I would go and see one of the wonderful LCs up there in your area.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. I know we're already at 2:01, but I just want to ask one more question about the ELVIE, right? I'm trying to find can you show it again? And I'm curious to see how it fits onto the breast, like what that part looks like, and then how much are they? I know insurance companies cover a certain amount, but I'm curious how much someone would have to pay out.
You know, I'm not exactly, I apologize, and anybody that wants to know exactly how much this is, you can just even go on our chat and they'll let you know. So with the ELVIE, what we will do, Kara, is this is the part that you're looking for. What we will do is we will apply your insurance benefit to this pump. And then whatever your insurance covers, whether it's $95 or $170, and then moms can just make up the difference. So the only insurance company that would not allow us to do that would be any members of MaineCare. We can't, you know, do upgrades with that particular insurance. And there are a couple other ones too, but for a lot of the insurances, a lot of the commercial and regionals, you know, you can upgrade to this pump. It would just be a larger out-of-pocket experience, you know, out-of-pocket than some of the other ones. But we can certainly get you that information. You know, any mom that's out there that is interested in the ELVIE, give Acelleron a call, do a chat. The other thing that you can do is you can go on, and if you go to acelleron.com /lookup, and you type in, let's just say, it'll ask you your state. So you say Maine, and then the next column, it says, what insurance do you have? Let's say Anthem. And then it'll come up with all the pumps that are 100% covered, no out of pocket that you can choose from. And then on the second part of the screen, it's going to show you all the pumps that you can upgrade to. So the ELVIE will be on that. And it will let you know right then that you have Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Maine, and these are the pumps that are 100% covered. These are the pumps that you would have an upgrade, and then it would tell you, you know, this pump is $200 out of pocket. Just know ahead of time. And then if you had any questions, but this, Kara, is how, you know, this is it.
Yeah, interesting. It's so neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't want to break this off, but yeah, and the little collection, you know, it's really cool. You know, it's getting, we were talking, Kara and I were talking earlier too, this and the Willow is another pump that we don't carry. I don't know if we ever will. But we really want to make sure that we are providing pumps that, again, are 100% covered. We just want to make sure that every woman is able to obtain a breast pump, no matter what insurance she has, that we are able to provide her a quality double electric breast pump at no out-of-pocket expense. Every breastfeeding woman deserves that.
Yeah.
To help her meet her breastfeeding goal. So we definitely want to make sure that happens. Then there are some, you know, women out there that say, oh, you know, I really like that bundle. I really like how it comes with that, you know, that Sarah Wells bag. That's important to me. You know, I travel, I want to be able to fit my big Spectra in that bag. And so we want to offer that to women too, you know, so we just want to be able to go, you know, right across and again, just like with anything, with feeding, with labor, birth, we want to make sure that women have choices, because, you know, if they don't have choices and options, then, you know, they if they're not provided those options, then they have none, right? So,
Thank you, Holly. Yeah, I added the Acelleron Knowledge Center link into the chat box too.
Perfect.
That's really good to know about that option. And
Yes.
Ellen also wanted to know if moms can contact you. I'm trying to find that question. Can women contact you directly for help with their pump?
They can. Yep.
Okay.
And, you know, we can certainly, Ellen, troubleshoot the pump questions, you know, and just like going through, like I said, most of the girls are CLCs down there. And so, you know, it may be a question like, you know, do you have the membrane put in? You know, those kinds of things. You know, we're going to listen to the mom's concern. I mean, we have had moms literally call us who are experienced pumping moms and say, there is something wrong with this pump. Like it's not. So in that sense, we're like, okay, you know, this mom is a breastfeeding mom. She's an experienced pumping mom. She knows what she's talking about. You know, moms know, we know. And so in that situation, then we would say to the mom, we would just give her the manufacturer number, you know, for the customer care service team, Ellen, at the manufacturer, because at that point, the mom may need a new pump. There might be a manufacturer problem with it. And if there is, then we need to go right, they need to go right through the manufacturer. So MEDELA, SPECTRA, LANSINOH. And I will share that most of these companies that we work with, not only do they provide a quality product, but their customer service is top notch, you know, and I know all of us in the field, you know, we certainly have had the experience with the customer service, but sometimes things happen, you know, manufacturer defects, and we want to make sure that that mom gets another pump. And, you know, they're the manufacturers, so they're of the essence, you know, they know this mom needs a pump shipped right now, you know, to get there in 24 hours. So, but absolutely, Ellen, with, you know, any questions that a mom has, and if we feel that it's out of our scope or, you know, customer care team scope of practice, then they will either defer those questions, you know, to me, or they will defer and refer the mother to an IBCLC, a support group. We may, you know, share with her the benefit of the WIC program. So we're going to do all we can within our scope to help that mom in the immediate. And then we would never just let her off the phone with saying, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know, we'll answer the best we can, Ellen, and then we will certainly leave the mom off the call with having numbers, emails, reliable resources for that mom to go to.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Holly. And speaking of, you left your phone number and your email address on that last slide there. So if anyone has any other questions, they can reach out directly to you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone else, for joining today.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. It's been great. If I can't be in Maine in person, then I guess this will do, at least being with all my Maine friends. I'm not that far away from you.
I know.
Sure, but at least
we wish you a speedy recovery with your
Thank you.
injury.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm not wobbling up throughout Maine. when I come up to see all of you. So thank you for me, everybody, okay? And take good care of yourselves. I wish all the mamas, you know, all the best with their babies. And if you need anything from us, you know, with your pumping journey or transitioning back to work and pumping, please don't hesitate. Please put us at the top of your list for, you know, reference, because we are happy to support you in any way we can through this journey. So
Awesome.
everybody, and stay safe, everybody, okay?
You too. Bye.
Bye. Bye.